Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having a great day. So today I want to talk about something interesting. I want to talk about the Bitcoin NYK backed dollar. Um, Being able to reach about $14,000 once we hit around 100 million accounts. Now, that's a lot of accounts. That would be more accounts than the entire Bitcoin network right now, right? But we're going to talk a little bit about today about why that's not only theoretically possible, but probably likely, probably interesting enough likely to happen. Now, at what time frame? Not exactly sure, but we're going to go over some reasons based on how the Bitcoin NYK backed dollar is structured, why that might be theoretically possible. So first, we need to unpack the nature of the Bitcoin NYK backed dollar and why it exists in the first place. So many of us are familiar with stable coins, and we know the many uses of stable coins, why we need them to a certain degree, and why people are definitely using them, and it's a use case for them. The Bitcoin NYK backed dollar doesn't go far from those reasons. However, there is something unique to the Bitcoin NYK backed dollar, something I haven't quite seen done this way in cryptocurrency yet, and that is the value of the Bitcoin NYK backed dollar. The inflation rate is linked to the entire network's growth and size and value. So the first part that is I think we need to clear up is that the whole purpose of a stable coin or generally backed dollars is to create a certain amount of stability. Stability is very important for many reasons. You don't want your investments going up and down all over the place, especially when you're trying to target for the right investment, or you might need it to do some type of business, remittance payments, in which case you want your money to arrive pretty much how it left. So the Bitcoin NYK backed dollar certainly is able to fit that category of use, but it does something a little bit different, I find, in a system unlike I've never seen before that I think many people might like. And that is the value of Bitcoin NYK backed dollars. They go up with the value of the network. Now, it's done in such a gradual way that from a stability standpoint, especially in comparison to cryptocurrencies, people who hold Bitcoin and YK backed dollars, they don't really notice it, and it doesn't impact the many of their transactions, so to speak. That's because the rate of fluctuation might happen in less than 1% growth per day or something like that. In some cases, it can be higher. There could be some special event, but generally, the occurrence is very gradual, and it doesn't disturb a lot of this transition. Um, Now, the Bitcoin MYK backed dollar is connected to the Bitcoin MYK project that has a native token called the Bitcoin MYK token. That is part of a social network Bitcoin for Universal Basic Income project. That's saying a mouthful. It's also a universal bridge cryptocurrency. But the important factor in all of this is that there are certain elements in the Bitcoin NYK project that garners it in a way that it is able to gain a lot of accounts and potentially a lot of value. Why is this? Well, because number one, it forks the biggest network in cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. Right, so every Bitcoin holder can get it free. Second part is if they don't get the tokens free, let's just say a Bitcoin holder goes, oh, it's not worth my time, or I'm only going to stay in Bitcoin, I'm not going to barter with this project, then those tokens are distributed through the Universal Basic Income Program, right? In any event, this is a project that is basically geared towards growth, right? Um, and because of that, we kind of expect large numbers with it. Without any marketing, so far, the Bitcoin NYK project. In some ways, we want it to grow organic. We've seen projects like this overnight, their servers crash, and it's a very terrible user experience. Also, to help the situation with the Bitcoin NYK backed dollar, a gradual growth in the network is totally fine. We don't have a problem with that. But we already have about 10,000 registered users. But let's talk about the Bitcoin NYK backed dollar, which is only at about $1.52 now. Understanding that the inflation rate is tied to the network, the project, the social network. And what you have to understand about that is you have to understand concepts like Facebook, that is now worth almost literally $1 trillion. The one company, one private company, is almost as big as Bitcoin, right? An entire monetary system. So we have to put that in perspective, that social media has value. That data is the oil of the 21st century. And that an extensive large network like this, or potentially, can create a lot of value. That inflation pushes the Bitcoin NYK backed dollar up as the network grows. If you believe in those fundamentals, then the compensation of the growth of the network, this new money, this new value, is able to offset this inflation or go into the inflation of the Bitcoin NYK backed dollar. Also, remember, the Bitcoin NYK backed dollar, the back's there for a reason. It means that every Bitcoin NYK backed dollar can be redeemed for a Bitcoin NYK native token, right? At any period of time. What's important here, or what I think it has become kind of like the oxymoron in a stablecoin idea, is that a stablecoin is backed by a fiat currency that is backed by nothing. So what's wrong with that picture? And so that's been one thing we've been trying to figure out, and we feel we've done it with the Bitcoin NYK project, and that this thing should be backed by the network, right? That it should be backed by the network. They were just launched last month. They were only about $1, and the network's grown about 40% in essentially not quite 2 months. Very, very good return in that regard. So the Bitcoin NYK backed, I'm trying to move this graph here. The Bitcoin NYK backed, maybe it'll let me do it, $1. Okay, there we go. I think I may have it now. I'm experiencing a little technical difficulties here. But the Bitcoin NYK backed dollar, I think I made a boo-boo there, is able to take on that inflation as we discussed, and in so doing, so that's how the value grows. Now, let's look at some of the numbers here, if I can ever get back where I need to be. But let's look at some of the numbers here. So if a Bitcoin NYK backed dollar, the inflation rate went up about 40% based on that example, so it puts it at about $1.40. It is connected to the US dollar, but it is not backed by the US dollar. So what happens is that much of the Bitcoin NYK native token is ushered into the Bitcoin NYK backed dollar to always back up its value, right? It has a high liquid market, and so that is yet stable. So of course, you know what that means. It is the stable coin in this weird sense that can go up in value, right? Okay. So let's see here. All right. So at $1.50 right now, where it's at, we're at about near 10,000 registered accounts already without marketing. About 14,000 accounts across exchanges. And 100% increase in our network would put us at about 1 million accounts. Now, will we hit 1 million accounts? I believe so. I believe we have all of the elements that is going to make this project awesome and is going to make it able to do that. That would put the Bitcoin NYK backed dollar at around $140 each, right? So it'd be trading just under about Litecoin value now. But if you were to 100x that again, right, go from 1 million accounts to 100 million accounts, then you're looking at about $14,000 of Bitcoin NYK token. And so you're talking about one of the biggest networks in cryptocurrency. Now again, those kind of numbers seem crazily unrealistic. But in retrospect, the 100 million accounts is nothing to your average good social network, right? And not even the best. Just a pretty good one can do 100 million, can do 50 million, 100 million accounts. This is a different model, than many stablecoins. A different model than many cryptocurrency projects that we cannot evaluate what the value really is. And so we get into these endless cycles of bubbles and so on. This is certainly a project you want to look at. I'm not saying go out and put any money in it. Although, as a stable coin, if you do, you probably got a better chance putting money in this than any other cryptocurrency out there right now. But concept-wise, fundamentally wise, this seems pretty solid to me. And that is just kind of from an outside of my bias perspective, right? This is pretty much what I would see in most cryptocurrencies if they were doing this. So can it hit $14,000? Possibly so. Possibly so. A very good chance of that. I think this project is going to get real popular. I think it has all the right network and branding effects to it. And I think use-wise, it makes a lot of sense. The stability of it. It can be used for remittance payments. It's looking at a very promising future large-scale network. And when I look at other cryptocurrencies in comparison to this, I just do not see those elements, right? I don't see anything like that. I see us really guessing about the value of these projects, and it's causing us a lot of harm. Causing us 20, 30% dumps a day, right? Causing us a great deal of harm. And the Bitcoin NYK backed dollar is a new way forward in cryptocurrency that I think many of you all need to seriously take a look at. And really do some studying and research on it. I think you owe it to yourself. I think you owe it to your portfolios. I think if you're a fund manager in cryptocurrency, whether it be for your individual accounts or for industry accounts or custodial capacity accounts, I think that we may not be going too far to say you should probably be holding this cryptocurrency and trying it out. But that's all I want to say in this video. If you like content like this, don't forget to like, subscribe. Don't forget to ask questions to learn more about the Bitcoin NYK backed dollar. I think you'll be glad you did. But until next time, as always, take care.